Hello, this is Wild M. You may have noticed a set of 9 videos earlier this month for the Code Obfuscation Challenge. Let's take a look at them with commentary this time. I'm going to try and order these from least votes to most, so let's start with this one. This solution doesn't actually run. This solution is by Jethro Q. Walrus. Can you guess why I chose this solution by Jethro Q. Walrus? I think you can tell why I picked Jethro Q. Walrus solution. Well, Jethro Q. Walrus seemed upset that max emissions weren't accepted for random input puzzles, so I thought that I would make it up to Jethro Q. Walrus by showing off his one code obfuscation submission. So yeah, thanks Jethro Q. Walrus. If you would like to flag this video as inappropriate, you can click the red flag to the right of the like and dislike buttons. This one by Cracker actually speaks for itself. Check it out. Every one of these reactors, well, let me show off this one first. Okay, so here's our first one. Yeah, so all of these here are the exact same layout. The only real difference is in how these bonds and debonds are arranged. So this allows for the reaction engineer to very easily create any keycard they want from the same starting reactor just by toggling a few bonds and debonds. So yeah, it's interesting, okay? I don't know, maybe it's not the top solution, but I don't know, it was fun. Anyway, no need to show off the end of this, so let's move on. This one by Tough Thought is another max solution that doesn't complete on Windows. However, what I find interesting about it is how it crashes. If you're not interested in statistics, feel free to skip ahead. This one is going to take a little while. Okay, so if you've been following along, you should know that SpaceChem's random input generation really just takes 12 inputs at a time distributed by percentage, shuffles them around, then spits out the result. This is how Serval made his insane 7,390 cycle solution. He knew that he would always have 4 carbon dioxides, 4 waters, and 4 acetylenes. What Tough Thought's solution does is feed in 3 starting inputs, then feed in 3 inputs, attempt to generate acrylic acid, feed in 3 inputs, attempt to generate acrylic acid, and so on. Let's look at the odds of this completing in 40 inputs. Okay, so 40 times in a row, we're going to have to start with 6 inputs and have to be lucky enough to have, at minimum, 1 of each type of input. What makes this a little weird is that our odds are going to change whether we're using the first, second, third, or fourth set of 6. Remember, in our case, a set of 12 is guaranteed to have 4 of each molecule. It's easier to calculate the odds of failing than flipping those odds to get the chances of success, so if we had a 30% chance of failure, our chance of success would then be 70%. We'll be taking this approach by finding the chances of not getting 4 of a single type of molecule. You should be familiar with this if you've ever read about conditional probability. So for our first set, when we pick our first molecule, we have an 8 out of 12 chance of not hitting an acetylene. 4 waters, 4 carbon dioxides, it did make sense. Then our second set will be 7 out of 11, third will be 6 out of 10, etc. Our end result is going to be 1 out of 33. That means that our odds of not getting 4 carbon dioxides are 1 out of 33, our odds of not getting 4 acetylenes are the same, our odds of not getting 4 waters are the same, so using the addition rule, the odds of any of these events happening are 3 out of 33, which is 1 out of 11, which means that our odds of success on each first set roll are 10 out of 11, which we're going to have to succeed on 10 times. Okay, so on the second set, the only way we can fail is if our leftovers here at the end contain 3 of the same molecule in a row. Using the same logic as before, we get, well, 1 out of 84. Remember that this set of 9 has to have 3 of each molecule since our first set was a success and fold 1 of each. We're assuming that we haven't crashed yet. Using the addition rule and flipping that result, we get an 81 out of 84 chance of success. For the third and fourth set, we're absolutely guaranteed to have 1 of each molecule. Well, why is that? Well, that's because by then we already have the rest of the set of 12. Since we've assumed that our previous 2 sets were successes, they included 2 sets of each molecule, meaning that we have 2 carbon dioxides, 2 acetylenes, and 2 waters on the third set, and at least 1 of each on the fourth set. Alright, so take the chances of succeeding on a first set to the 10th power, then take the chances of succeeding on a second set to the 10th power, and multiply these together. This is all an application of the multiplication rule. And our odds of completing the solution are about 26.8%. That's actually pretty low. Toughlot got lucky on his max mission completing. And if you want to watch this fail, well, you know, I guess we could. Let's just skip ahead. Okay, there we go, it failed. And that's that. Alright. This is my personal favorite by Leylight. Leylight took a relatively simple idea and made it unnecessarily complicated in a perfectly reasonable way that I could see plenty of newbies doing. I don't know, just from looking at the symbol layout without knowing what the input and output were, I mean, you'd think that this did something really important, but nope, it just moves hydrogens on the other side of the molecule. Pretty clever. Got a laugh out of me at least. This solution by leveling completely caught me off guard. I had no idea what was going to happen until I saw, well, this uranium right here. I sat on this solution for months to wait to show this off, and I'm glad, well, it interrupted me. But what I was going to say is that I'm glad that we're finally here, because I found it really amusing. In any case, it'll be okay leveling. We are almost free. This is almost over. So, yeah, let's move on. Okay, we've already seen Mr. Blarney's solution for this from earlier in the tournament. All this does is preload a set of inputs, then shuffle through them and slowly bond everything together in the proper order, which takes even a while to preload. To be honest, this would have been a pretty good code obfuscation submission on its own. Well, what Guava did is, he added this second reactor here. Despite how complicated it looks, the concept is easy enough to grasp. This is just a pass-through reactor that takes a really long time to complete. Guava had a hard-to-follow spreadsheet of how I calculated how long this would take, and oh, okay, I give up. This is really not very fun to describe, especially when Guava's already done it before. Lots of flip-flops, blue hits a single sink here at the end, and then red gets pushed to the next sink. Red follows a similar path to blue, and this has to pass 1009 molecules through to complete the puzzle, meaning that this takes about 2.6 sextillion years to complete at max speed, which I can even fathom. You know, I almost think that the solution would have been more conceptually interesting if you timed it so that it took, you know, like one real-world year to complete, or I don't know, a day to complete, just something that had a specific value on it that you could grasp. In any case, you know, the mechanics are impressive enough, it's just that I've seen a lot of intentionally slow solutions in the past. Still, though, I had to give him credit for it, so very nice. Alright, what do we got next? Meatbag Esquire is a law-abiding citizen and believes that iron trioxide should pay its debt to society. It paces around its cell while the blue auto turns hydrogen into additional, hard-working iron trioxide citizens. Our criminal element still manages to be a little useful though, letting the blue auto know when it has finished oxygen and iron atoms. You know, I know that iron trioxide is a molecule, not an element, but really, can you blame me for wanting to make a criminal element joke? It's there. I can't resist it. Alright, what do we got next? Oh, this was our number 3 solution as far as votes are concerned, so our number 2 one is right here. Blue-Eyed Rat attempts to speed up our hydrogen radicals in a rather unique way. I had no idea what was going to happen the first time I watched this. A bunch of random carbon megamolecules? Well, what are they for? Well, if we'll just be a little patient, you'll see that clearly we're going to make a catapult out of them. Because that will make things faster, right? Yeah, I mean, this is the whole solution. Just this. But still, it was our second most popular one, and for good reason. It's completely over the top and unnecessary. But, you know, it looks interesting. We have this I don't know what it looks like something. I'm sure it's meant to be a drawbridge or whatever. In any case, very popular. But our first place code obfuscation submission, by process of elimination, has to be this one by Pseudodude. So this solution isn't too complicated. All we're doing is using particle smashing to form two theta tetroxides at once. It's a really simple idea, it just looks really nice and symmetric while it runs. I'll let this solution speak for itself. Congratulations on your victory, Pseudodude. You may not have made it to the final challenge of the tournament, but at least you had the opportunity to show off some interesting solutions and get a prize in the process. I'd also like to take the time to thank all of our other code obfuscation entrants. Those include Johan, Leylite, Jethro Q Walrus Titty, The Void, Guava Moment, Leaker, Leveling, Guilty Spystander, Tough Thought, Blue Eyed Rat, and Crackor, and hopefully I didn't miss anyone. If not, or if I did, I'll put them on the list here somewhere. I appreciate you guys all taking the time to come up with interesting solutions. Well, the results of our hopefully final challenge are coming up pretty soon, and I don't know what else to say.